Greetings,
Nerdrotic.com.
everyone. How are you? Welcome. Welcome all. We are here to discuss The Mandalorian Season 1, Episode 2. I can talk. The Child. Good morning. I was going to do this last night, but it dropped in the middle of the night, and I didn't feel like doing a live stream in the middle of the night. And this will be, of course, short. And if you are new to the channel, this was my bread and butter. I used to do live TV reviews on episodic television, not on live streaming, after the episode airs. And you are my co-host. And yes, this was a decent episode of The Mandalorian. I'm not going to say it was as good as last episode, and I'm not going to say a lot happened. And I will say this is a live action cartoon. This is it. I got a Samurai Jack vibe out of this big time. And that is, I don't know. Maybe that's my expectations. I was expecting a little bit more from the launch of Disney Plus, considering how much this thing cost. And yeah, again, I need to probably temper my expectations. Remember that this isn't made for a 50-year-old dude. But before I get started, if you like what I do here and you like independent content on YouTube, please consider subscribing to the channel. YouTube is going to be making some major changes again because they've made a lot already to the algorithm that is going to adversely affect independent creators. So if you want to keep seeing independent creators compete against the major corporations here, it's up to you to keep us around. Unfortunately, those are the rules. I apologize. You have to do so much work, and I wish it wasn't that way. And I thank you for your continued support. Greetings. Good morning again, everybody. The Mandalorian looks like, it's 2 episodes in. I can't judge the television show too harshly. And I don't plan to. I would give this episode a 7 out of 10 because nothing really happened. The special effects are unbelievable. They're spectacular for television. I see where they spent all the money, so there's no problems there. The score is still the score. I don't think it fits at all. I've heard the arguments that it sounds like a Western. No, it doesn't. I've watched a lot of Westerns. It's got hints of a Western, but the Mandalorian theme sounds like your basic Thursday night ABC at 8 p.m. procedural cop show music to me. It doesn't feel like Star Wars at all. No offense to the composer at all. But I want to show you my notes for this episode. It's 1 page. It's 1 page. There's not a lot of dialogue. There's some really good action, and there's some funny moments. But I think, it's a tough thing to temper humor with adventure where you want to take the protagonist seriously as a badass. And they're definitely going for a Han Solo vibe, the fallible badass. There was some Indiana Jones stuff in this that was cool, just in the way he was chasing. But I'll start out. I'll do a quick recap, then we'll get to you. So we have cute baby Yoda. That's all. We don't know the child's name. We don't know the name of the species. I don't think we know the name of this species anyway. They're supposed to be very force sensitive and rare. That's all I know. We don't know if it's a baby boy or if it's a baby girl or if it's a clone of Yoda. It was noticed by some people on Reddit that the doctor from the first episode had the same insignia as they did on Kamino, I believe, the cloners of Kamino. So that leads a lot of people to believe that this might be a clone of Yoda. This might lead into the rise of Soywalker. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The rise of Skywalker. And that's how Emperor Palpatine comes back inexplicably, completely taking away Anakin and Luke's sacrifice. But I'm not going to get into that here. We're talking about The Mandalorian. But we don't know what it is, but it's pretty cute. I got to admit, it's pretty cute. And we need to, the little carriage it's in, we need to invent those for Disneyland because I think that would help actually navigate Disneyland a lot better, especially, floating carriages that we can just, program. Let's get to work on that one, people. So they're walking away at the end. He shoots IG-11 in the head and they're walking away with baby Yoda. And then he gets attacked by a bunch of Bosks. They look like Bosks to me. And he makes quick work of the Bosks. And as he makes his way to his ship, he sees it's being stripped by red-eyed Jawas. Now, maybe they changed the color in the prequels. I can't remember. I always remember them having yellow eyes, but that's me. Maybe that's got something to do with the differences to keep George from getting residuals. I don't know. Most importantly, I don't care. So the Jawas strip his ship, and he chases after the Jawas in their sand barge. And this was great. I love this scene. He was, he running up the side. He was vaporizing Jawas. By the way, there's going to be spoilers, but honestly, there's nothing to spoil. Plot-wise, nothing really happened. Plot-wise, the Mandalorian got into a couple scuffles. His ship got stripped. He put his ship back together and he left. That's it. So he chases the Jawas, vaporizes a few, but they knock him off and they take off. He is defeated. By the way, the baby was in tow the whole time. And he has to go back to the Ugnaughts compound. I'm sorry, I don't remember Nick Nolte's Ugnaughts name. I'll know it by the next episode. And he tells them that the Jawas destroyed his ship, and he's all, Jawas do not destroy, they strip, and you need to barter with them, and blah, 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 I have spoken. So they go back to the Jawas. He gets, the Mandalorian and the baby get towed by a blurg and the Ugnaught to the Jawas. They barter. They want the Beskar steel. He says no. They want the baby. He says no. But then they say they want the egg. And then there's this egg chant in Jawa, which is kind of funny. There is a lot of that Disney comedy in this one. There's a lot. It gets very Disney at about a third of the way through the episode. So the Mandalorian needs to get this egg. So he goes into a cave, and there's this giant woolly rhino creature, and he has to fight this creature off. The creature kicks his ass, and it looks like he's about to give up. I mean, he just gets his ass whooped. He pulls out his knife. He points it out. He puts his head down like, like, this is it. I'm going to die, leaving the baby there. Maybe, I don't know why, maybe he didn't trust the Ugnaught. Probably not. It's probably, I don't know. But the baby probably would have died too, because that giant rhino thing was going after the baby. But right before he's about to die, Baby Yoda gets out and uses the Force and lifts up the rhino and then passes out from exhaustion. And the Mandalorian stabs him in the neck with that little knife, and the thing dies. So I don't know if the Force killed him or that little shank killed the rhino. I'm not really, that looked like tough hide. Maybe he hit him in the right spot, or maybe it's a poisoned blade. I don't know, because they don't tell us. Now, earlier on in the episode, I forgot this part. After he got attacked by the Bosks, he got injured. There's a lot of very slow, cool moments in this, but it's a half hour. This one was 32 minutes. And again, nothing happened. So there was slow moments that would have fit in a 2.5 hour film, but not in a half hour episode. So as he's trying to heal a wound, Baby Yoda keeps getting out and trying to heal the wound with the Force, and he keeps putting it back, which is kind of cute. So that was our tell that, Baby Yoda had the Force, and he used it on the giant woolly rhino, which I don't know how that thing died from a little knife, but maybe we're just watching something made for 14-year-olds, but I think 14-year-olds are smart. I have one. They would ask that question. My 14-year-old would ask, how did that thing die with a knife? Was it a poison blade? Did it hit it in an artery? I don't know. Are they, do they have amazingly thin skin for being an amazingly big animal? These are the kind of questions kids are going to ask today, because they're smarter. So he gets the egg back to the Jawas. They eat the egg. He gets his parts back. The Ugnaught helps him put his ship back together. And then he asks the Ugnaught to work for him. And this is the only character development we get in the entire episode, because the Ugnaught and the Mandalorian do discuss little Baby Yoda using the Force, and all they say is, do you know what happened? I don't understand. And the Mandalorian says, I don't either. But we find out the Ugnaught has lived a life of servitude and has moved to this planet, wherever this planet is. I have no idea. It could be Tatooine. And he left to this planet to be free. And he wanted, he's an old man living in the desert, wanting to be left alone, an old Ugnaught because he, lived a life as a slave. Even though the Mandalorian asked him to come on the ship and pay him well. So they put the ship back together and they leave, and that's the end of the episode. That's it. So, as far as paying for a streaming service just for this, I think this thing was made to get a lot of subscribers up front. I don't know if this is going to maintain you subscribers, Disney. You've got a lot of time between this and your next TV show that's going to bring a lot of subscribers. So that whole talk of them, we're expecting to lose money for a couple of years. Yep, you're probably going to lose money for a couple of years because these are short half-hour episodes, again, that are like a cartoon, that are good. It'll keep kids engaged and adults. Most adults, I would think, might watch each episode twice if they're like a pretty big Star Wars fan. Normies are going to watch this thing out of the corner of their eye, and it's made for modern times. There's not a lot of that plot to get in the way of you looking at your phone or doing something else. And yeah, maybe it's perfect. Maybe it's perfect for adults. Maybe I'm just an old man yelling at a cloud. I don't know. Let's get to the chat. What sucks? What sucks for you guys? Because being old doesn't entirely suck, because there's some things I can remember, and I got to live through some pretty cool stuff, including seeing Star Wars in the theater for the first time. And I wish I could bottle up the feeling of awe that I had watching that film for the first time, because it's indescribable. I can't. And I don't know if people watching film can get that. I don't think they can, unless they can figure out a way to project an actual memory into your head. That would be the equivalent of watching Star Wars for the first time, watching the Star Destroyer come across and hearing the crowd gasp. And yeah, I mean, that's what a lot of the older Star Wars fans are looking for. I never expected Disney Star Wars to match that. That's impossible to match that. I don't expect them to match Empire Strikes Back. I certainly thought they could do better than the prequels. Now, is this better than the prequels? I don't know. I can't compare it to cinematically a little, but not, I it's a TV show. I expected more. I expected hour-long episodes. I expected character development. And it looks like to me, this was a way for Disney to throw a bunch of money at something without being bothered with writing anything complicated. And you don't need to write Star Wars complicated, but it's still, Star Wars is very difficult in its simplicity. The next big show on Disney Plus will be the Clone Wars Season 7 in February 2020. Yeah, Nicholas Horton, that's for Star Wars fans. I don't think that's going to bring normie subscribers at all, to be honest with you. I think that is music for musicians. That's jazz right there. It's good. I'll watch it, but I don't think it's going to get Karen to tune in. Karen's probably going to tune in for the kids, for Dakota, little baby Dakota. Well, but she's not going to pay attention to that stuff. Trinoculus P has boomer privilege. Boomer privilege. So let's get to what you guys think here. 200 Watt Studio says it was interesting to see a scavenger species Ugnaught negotiating with another scavenger species. It was, but these are the little moments for Star Wars fans, and that's good. You deserve them, Star Wars fans. It's weird because I'm watching this semi-objectively because I'm not a Star Wars fan anymore. That relationship is over. It ended with The Last Jedi. So I'm watching this kind of with new eyes, and it's pretty good. But it's not going to grab you because there's not a lot going on there. It's visually stunning. It's a beautiful thing. Pedro Pascal, I don't think he's in the costume. Why would they pay him to be in the costume when they can just have him be a voice actor? I could be wrong, but I see that they just focused on doing some amazing effects. They have some amazing talent behind the camera, which is, that's a great start. Gary, I highly recommend you watch Demon Slayer. It's an awesome anime with amazing fight animation. Also, can you ask Doomcock if he's seen it already? Mr. Samuel Platinum, I will ask him. Yes. I'm not going to, there's very little anime I watch. This is an unfortunate thing of age, Samuel Platinum. At least for me. I'll speak for myself. Cartoons, animated just doesn't. I don't know. It happened when I was like 40. I just lost interest in it. I used to love animation. It used to be the main thing I watched. But now the only thing I'll watch is Venture Brothers. Venture Brothers is my favorite animated show. Yeah, that's it. Matt McMadden is a prequel fan. That's good. That's good. If you like the prequels, I understand a lot of people liking the prequels because they were kids when they came out and they were made for kids. And the best thing I can equate to it is it's in Generation X, but it's the younger form of Generation X. They really like the Goonies. I hated the Goonies. I saw the Goonies as a teenager and I thought it was dumb. So I never understood why people liked it until I got older and I realized, it was a bunch of 7 and 8-year-olds who watched it and loved it. Okay, I got it. I get it. And that's what the prequels are to a lot of people. I saw the prequels as when they come out in 99. So I was 20. I was 19, 20 years old. No, I was older than that. What the hell am I talking about? I was 27 when Star Wars had its 20th anniversary. So I was 30. God, I'm getting old. Yeah. So I was 30. Yeah. They weren't doing it for me. Not at all. But that's okay. Mark the Cyborg. Go Team Venture. You're goddamn right. I can't wait for season 8 whenever it comes out. But it is the best show kind of ever. I don't know. I know you did not like the score, but John Williams doesn't seem to go with seemingly edgy, dark theme. It's not edgy and dark, Ryan. That's the thing. It's not edgy and dark at all. Maybe it'll get back that way, but it's way more adventurous and fun, which is not a bad thing at all, but it's nowhere near edgy and dark. I don't know if you saw the second episode, but it's a cartoon. It's a cartoon. Yeah. Get a calculator. No. Why start now, Jedi Susie? Yes, I did, Nicholas. I did. All right, we're going to get through the chat here. I love the prequels, and I was 20-something when they came out, Jedi Susie. There you go. I did not. I did not, but that's okay. You know what? I've softened on them, but I can understand why you like them, but they're not objectively good films at all, or subjectively. They're poorly acted, but the plot, at least the story structure, is much better than what Disney Star Wars has done. Much better. Something happens. There's an epic story in there. There is. There's no epic story in new Disney Star Wars. There's just things that happen because Rey is awesome. Jordan Rabrak, no, I didn't crit Mr. Robot. I'm just going to do the final episode. I just don't have time to do it. Mr. Robot comes out. There were at the time 3 shows that were coming out Sunday. I can't watch 3 shows, and I gave up on Batwoman, thankfully, because it's boring and terrible. But we have to concentrate on The Watchmen. So I'll do the last episode of Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot's very good. It's very good. I got no problems with Mr. Robot. Filoni directed, he didn't direct the second episode. The second episode was directed, I didn't catch the name who directed this episode. Again, it's good. It's very entertaining. It's going to play to Star Wars fans, but I'm going to be honest, I need a little more, especially when I'm paying for a streaming service. I expect a little more from my TV shows. I don't expect network level writing. Now, the visuals on this thing are cinematic. It's like you're going to a movie theater if you haven't watched it. But the plot is razor thin and not sharp. It's just thin. And I think it's just going to be Mandalorian protects baby. We're going to find out baby is that's going to connect to Rise of Skywalker. And, I don't know. It's been greenlit for a season 2. But again, when I subscribe to a streaming service, I want hour-long episodes. Something like Alter Carbon. That's what I subscribe to something for. If I'm going to watch original. Stranger Things, of course. Those are 2 shows I liked a lot. Hi there, Pixel Brain. Batwoman got worse. Yeah, I heard it did, and that's why. But the thing is, it's bad in a really CW way. Friday Night Tights will be later. We will have Geeky Candy on, and Odin, Comics Division. I believe Yellow Flash is coming on tonight. I invited Yellow Flash to come on. And we're going to talk about, The Mandalorian. We're going to talk about The Mandalorian some more, but there's not a lot to talk about. That's the thing. I was like, I'm going to go live. I'm probably not going to keep this up. You can look for this on Nerdrotic Live. I'm going to do a video, and I'm going to combine it with the first episode, and I got some cool things to do to mix in there. And I'm also working on my Watchmen review. 30 minutes only works for comedy and sitcoms. Okay, Chris Stanley, I mostly agree with you. And I would have never thought 30 minutes was enough for an episode until I watched Ash vs. Evil Dead. An hour long of that episode would have been too long. 30 minutes was perfect. But those are light cartoons. Sam Raimi is a huge Warner Brothers cartoon fan. So if you haven't seen Ash vs. Evil Dead and you don't mind gore, whew, that is the first season is perfect. It's Cobra Kai perfect. But it was on Stupid Stars and it got canceled. Daredevil Netflix season 1 is the best thing Marvel's done, in my opinion. In my humble opinion. This is still the best Star Wars that Disney has produced, in my opinion. Pedro Pascal's voice acting is, if he's in the suit, great. I don't know. Again, is great. I have no problem. Nick Nolte's great. I like his Ugnaught character quite a bit. The Jawas were funny. Seeing the sand barge was great, but it's just, we're not doing anything new here. We're more doing things that we couldn't do 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and in Star Wars. This is supposed to, the template for this thing is Empire Strikes Back. I mean, we're getting a lot of New Hope stuff in it, but the template is Empire Strikes Back. Seeing IG-11 at the end of the last episode, in full action, that was great. And that was just like seeing the Dalek in full action for the first time, if you're a Doctor Who fan. Very similar. But yeah, it's short, it's sweet, and I don't know if it's worth jumping on and getting another streaming service. There's so many damn streaming services. The only one I have to get a bunch for the channel, but I'm not getting Apple TV. Nothing there looks worth reviewing, and it just doesn't look very good to me. I know some people are very high on it, but it doesn't move me at all. If the Winter Soldier kicked off Disney Plus, nobody would have cared. I think they started with a Star Wars show on purpose. They put this thing into production a year ago. So they had up until a year ago to decide on a Marvel show or a Star Wars show. Kevin Feige's got everything put together there. Why didn't you just, you have everything put together. You have the cast, you have the talent. But this was turning the page. This was deliberate. They started with Star Wars because it needed the help the most. And that's where it makes sense. It's like, what do we want to start with? The one that's been unbelievably successful and kicking ass? Or do we want to take a risk and start with and help restart something that was not doing so well? And that's exactly what this is. Kathleen Kennedy's name is on this, but the last interview I heard with her sounded a bit defensive. I gotta find it. She said something unsolicited. She said, the story group talks to the people of The Mandalorian too. I'm very heavily involved in The Mandalorian. Yes, The Mandalorian. It's like, whoa, okay. That was weird. But there's not much to talk about. I don't know how I can even review this show if it's going to be like this. So the next episode, he meets his gang of rogues. We're 2 episodes in of a 10 episode season. So we got 8 left. I've watched some interviews, and I know Gina Carano's character's the most badass. She can kick the Mandalorian's ass, Bill Burr's ass, Warner Herzog's ass, everybody's ass she can kick. And I don't know if IG 11's going to be put back together. If it was, I kind of thought he was going to be in it more, but maybe not. But yeah, maybe. Gina Carano, she's all right. She seems cool. Kathleen contract, KK contract ends in 2021. Yes, it does. George Malo, what's up, dude? Where the hell you been, man? Hey there, ho there, hi there, Gary. Been gone since Game of Thrones pooped the bed. Love Mondo, but damn, time is way too short. Second episode reminded me a bit of Dark Horse's Lone Wolf and Cub. Yes, that as well. Congratulations on the success of the channel. Hail Nerdrotic. Hail to you, George. Thank you for the $4.99. Yeah, $49.99. It's been a long time. Yes. Very Lone Wolf and Cub. Very Samurai Jack. These are not bad things. It's just, I did not expect half an hour episodes with very little dialogue and very little character development. Christopher Layton for 150 NTs, whatever those are. Is anything going to be gritty on Disney? Probably not. I will not be happy if all the Marvel and Star Wars stuff is PG. I loved R or PG-13 stuff that Netflix did with Marvel. I did too. Kiss it goodbye. Some of it might end up on FX, but it will not be on D+. And this is as gritty as it gets. And it wasn't very gritty. It might be gritty for an 8-year-old, but not for, I don't think you make this for an 8-year-old. I don't think Star Wars is made for an 8-year-old. 14 to 16, I think that's going to be your sweet spot, but my kids could care less about Star Wars. There you go. And it's not like I didn't try. John Hamster for $5. Gary, is it true that you owned a comic shop massage parlor in San Francisco for 10 years? Yes, I did. How did you find out about the massage parlor? It was supposed to be secret. Deep tissue massage. Deep tissue. Yes. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. There will be another live stream tonight, by the way. Hang on. I got to refresh this. So stupid YouTube changes the goddamn thing again, and there's like no easy way to get to the super chats. Way to go, guys. Way to freaking go. So I have to refresh it every time. This is moronic. Yeah, sorry, guys. All right, we're good. We can go back to the chat here. Gary, great content. You are one of my top 5 creators. Hail Doomcock and Toxic Jeremy. Mr. Morden, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Being in the top 5, I'll take that all day long. Thank you. Disney and her just need to work out a deal that isn't a PR nightmare. Yes, I think quietly walking off into the sunset is the only thing that won't. Yeah, I think Star Wars has been a PR nightmare, to be honest with you. They should have thought about that. They should have thought about that before they allowed creatives to attack fans. If some of you are in here and you're not Fandom Menace, I use the hashtag Fandom Menace. I'm a member, but I'm not Fandom Menace because it's not an organization. If you're wondering what we really are, we're pissed off because creatives took shots at the fans. That should never be allowed. Disney should have denounced it. They should have reined their people in. They didn't do it. Instead, they doubled down on it because people were critical of identity politics and attacking the fans. It has nothing to do with inclusivity or diversity. Actually, zero to do with it. But yeah, just in case you're wondering, don't believe the lies. If Baby Yoda is already 50, does this mean that Yoda was a teenager or something when he died at under 1,000? Dark Stranger, I don't know. I think we're going to get some background on the Yoda species, or maybe we won't. Yoda was interesting because there was only one of him. Now it's Yawn. There was two. There was Yaddle. Boba Fett was cool because he was unique. Now Yawn, so on and so forth. 16-bit mascot, absolutely. I like the character, the Mandalorian. I do, and we've already seen him more in action than Boba Fett. And Disney's trying to take these characters that were visually, and they're trying to make their own instead of using the ones that we would have thought were more cool. But yeah, Carbonite was unique, but now there's a bunch of it. Star Destroyers used to be unique, and now there's 100 of them in the sky. I mean, it's just... Here's the deal. Disney will probably be able to craft this brand because they've got so much into it into something that's serviceable, that people will like, that will probably be somewhat successful. They will not be able to recreate Star Wars, and I doubt that's what their intention is at all. But fundamentally, Star Wars does not work in 2019. I know people are, what? What are you talking about? It doesn't work. It doesn't work because the EU stuff that you're playing and on the games, that's not Star Wars. It's Star Wars-ish, and it might be Star Wars to you, but the original intent for Star Wars was fantasy and space, a farm boy, a princess, the most basic shit. And that's why they went back to the basics with this show, because that kind of is Star Wars. I was watching a ton of old interviews with Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill distinctly said, I know a couple of people mentioned a couple of good friends of mine who I completely trust their taste and respect the hell out of them. But the guy who was talking too much, the Norm guy that Doomcock called him in the beginning, who looks like the Star Trek, they ripped off a Star Trek alien. I forgot what the species is. Starts with a B. He was talking too much. He was too real world. Well, George Lucas specifically gave Mark Hamill instructions when they were shooting in Tunisia that you're not supposed to look at anything in awe. You're not supposed to use technobabble. And Mark Hamill helped develop, like, I'm going to look at this like I'm a Kansas farm boy. Like I'm straight off an earth farm in modern times. So that's part of the feel of Star Wars. That worked back then because Star Wars, we had never seen anything like it, ever. I mean, there was, robots were dirty. What? What's a dirty? Everything, all the sci-fi was clean and polished, and or it was 70s. It was like, look, it's like some freaking disco. I mean, this and Star Wars looked real, and what the hell is this? And it changed everything. But now, that stuff doesn't impress you guys anymore. Because you've seen some pretty cool stuff. I hated Avatar, but visually it was stunning. You've seen Avatar. It's going to take something that Star Wars can't do. Because, what JJ's going to do is I'm going to put like 3,000 ships in the frame. That'll do it. Okay, yeah, great. No, that's not going to do it. And, and then sticking modern day crap in there was just such an unnecessary move. Such an unnecessary move. Whoever's decision that was, be it Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger, one of the dumbest decisions in the history of Hollywood. You had the golden goose. All you had to do was let it lay eggs. I mean, you didn't have to do anything. George handed you shit. Just adapt it. So we're about a few years into this, and they made some money, but they left a lot of money behind, and Disney knows that. For those people who defend The Last Jedi and go, it made a lot of money. You know what a giant monolithic corporation that is just a giant open mouth that wants money poured into it constantly thinks? It doesn't think about, well, we were successful. They'll tell themselves that in the boardroom to make themselves feel better and look good to the investors. But behind closed doors, without the investors listening, they are pissed that they left $1 billion at the table. Combined from Solo, combined from The Last Jedi. If you would have had a satisfied fan base, you'd have made an extra $1 billion. Believe me that they think about that shit. Believe me. Come on. They don't go, well, at least it was successful. They'll say that publicly, and then people will go, they said that publicly, and we'll take them at face value. Oh, my God, to be young and naive again. Really. Yagi me. Hail, Gary. Would you review his Dark Materials? If interested, anyways. If not, whatevs. I'll try. I'm not a fan of that work. But you know what? I'll give it a shot. Why not? George Mallow, thank you very much again for the $19.99. Gary, do you believe all the episodes will be similar runtimes? Yes. Oh, yeah. Because we went from 39, 1 minute, to 28 minutes. It was 28 or 30? Here, I'll check right now. I got the episode up. Oh, crap. Is it? 32:55. So 32:55 on the second episode. Yeah, they're all going to be under 40 minutes. Maybe we'll get an hour for the last episode. I'm not sure. Will next week be 20 minutes? What do you think they're going to be? Why do you think they're going this route? Really frustrating. They're going this route because it was cheap. So they talked about this episode. I mean, this $10 million for that. $10 million for that. I mean, the effects were great, but there was 2 actors in it. The rest were puppets. Or the Jawas were actors. I'm sure there were little people and kids and stuff. By the way, one of the original Jawas, quick story. Since, screw this. I'm just going to make this a live stream. Quick story. One of my wife's clients is, I think she's called Sexy Jawa. So she was and I know it sounds weird, but she was a little kid in a desert town, I think Yermo, California. They needed to do a pickup for Star Wars. So they went to an elementary school in the middle of the day. They pulled out a bunch of kids in 105-degree weather, put them in Jawa costumes and filmed the pickup, gave the kids lunch and had them sign something. The teacher had to sit all the kids down and temper their expectations. And tell them, yeah, listen, they do movies all the time, and a lot of times they don't get to theaters or they don't do very well. So I don't want you to get upset if you don't get to see the movie you were in, because the kids were so excited. And it turned out to be Star Wars. And they didn't pay them shit. And they just pulled kids out of school. The 70s. You got to love the 70s. When you could ride your bike, when a kid could ride his bike on the street. Oh, I got the wrong mouse, boomer. What the hell? Loquacious Primate. Disney doesn't view Star Wars as any sort of creative endeavor. It's just a major part of their portfolio of IPs, as Iger says. That's underperforming. Loquacious Primate, well said. It's their property, one of their IPs. This IP will be doing better once we get the serviceable widget into the widgetness of the consumer. Once the consumer starts consuming our property and our IP, we will make more money, which will make our portfolios thicker. And then we can discuss making more money and ripping the soul out of one of the greatest franchises ever. And you know what? A testament to its strength. There's still fans. And aside from the Mandalorian, it's hot garbage. The toys aren't good. The Mandalorian toys, if they make them right, it'll be kind of cool. But I'm not going to get any. I am not back with Star Wars. I'm not a Star Wars fan. I can say something is good without being a super fan of it. It doesn't interest me anymore. It's not cool anymore. And it was cool for a long time, even during the prequels. At least the prequels did not take away from the original trilogy for me at all. They were fine. Wish they were better, but they were serviceable. Justice for Baby Yoda, says Antonio Cardenas for $5. The puppet's cute. Yeah, it's adorable. And it's freaking cute. It always getting out of its thing and trying to use the force. And it's like, yeah, I can hear all the girls going, oh my God. Yeah, but that's not dark and edgy, guys. It's not. Yeah. It seemed like a different episode than the first episode. Is that just me? It seemed like different in tone. John Hamster. And I read that one. And I read that one. Good, we're caught up. All right, folks. I'm gonna read a couple more here from the chat. This will be on Nerdrotic Live. Squids McCracken. Yes, there was. Well, there was one in the 60s, but there wasn't any in yeah, there was. There's always been. But I mean, we don't want to discuss that here. We're talking about Star Wars. Dark Knight of Thrones. Hail, Gary. Hail to you. Thank you for the $2. I appreciate you. Don't forget to hit that like button. And again, the stream's current bitrate. What the? Oh, my son is online. How's it look? Does it look okay? It says my bitrate is down. God damn it. I am in like the tech capital of the world, and we have the worst fracking internet here. We're finally going to get fiber optic in about a month. Thank God. But I mean, I have been dealing with the worst internet. It's terrible. Hail, Nerdrotic, has the show gone woke yet? That's what I'm waiting to happen. Here's the deal, Steven. I think people need to say something for it to get woke. If words aren't coming out of the characters' mouths for large portions of time in a 30-minute episode, if Disney could find a way to get it woke. You know they can. Not yet, but it's coming. But there's no sophistication to the show yet, as far as narrative and characterization. It is Lone Wolf and Cub meet Samurai Jack, which are two things I like actually quite a bit. So it's not so bad. Starting your streaming service off with it. Here's the deal. You want to make a weekly show. I'm going to go against my own philosophy on this one, but I don't have a philosophy, so I can do that stuff. I mostly believe if your show is for adults, it should be released weekly so other adults can go online, because we are not made for kids here, right, Copa? We're not made for kids. So other adults can go on and talk about your TV show. Water cooler talk. It's why Game of Thrones became the biggest show in the history of the world almost. And became the biggest collapse too, but that's another thing. It's because people talked about it at work on Monday. Did you see Game of Thrones? They talked about it at the barbershop. They talked about it at the salon. They talked about it at the gym. They talked about it everywhere. You drop your show all at once. People talk about it for a week and a half and it's gone. I did some brief research. Game of Thrones got about 20 million. I mean, this is just the channels I look for. A week, 20 million clicks. Free views of people talking about Game of Thrones. 20 million people, or 20 million people, maybe some people over and over again, looked at Game of Thrones news for free. Didn't cost Warner Brothers a cent. 20 million times in 1 week. And it was probably a lot more. It's probably a lot more. You're giving that up, not releasing your show weekly. It's stupid. That being said, if you got a half an hour show with very little dialogue and character development, drop the whole thing at once. Please. This is torture. If it's like this, it'll be bad. People will start bitching hard by episode 4. Now, maybe it was just this episode. I don't know. Not woke yet, Steven. Okay, I'm watching the second episode now, and you're correct. It's not dark and edgy. Yeah, the first one is, Ryan. The first one most definitely is. For Disney, for PG Disney. Let me dial that back a little bit. I mean, he gets in some fights. A guy gets chopped in half. Yeah. The opening scene. This one was not. It's all good, Ryan. Thanks, buddy. What would you have to see from Disney to convince you they've learned their lesson? Says Ren Wesley for $5. I think seeing this is a start. But it depends. I got to watch the whole show. And it has to have little to no, and I mean little to no identity politics. And when I mean little, I mean like 0.0001%, like that one off comment that they made in the first episode. I'll allow that, but that's about it. But we know they won't be able to hold back. Come on. When Kathleen Kennedy leaves, Disney will never acknowledge it. Never. But when she leaves and they announce her replacement, then we'll know if they got the message or not. And if they just replace her with another Kathleen Kennedy, then I'm truly done. Like, I'm not talking about it anymore. They're a memory. Even me talking about them right now helps them. And that doesn't make me feel great, but I want to be honest with you guys. Plus, I'm here to try to entertain you. But there will be a point where I will stop talking about Star Wars. I'll just be done. I think it's important to talk about it culturally. It's something I'm interested in, even watching the Schadenfreude, and as long as I maintain my personal interest. But when I get over things, I get over things. I'm done. Goodbye. We're done. Hate to use this example to my ex-wife out there. If she's out there, I wish her all the best. But we broke up and have not said, she messaged me once in 20 years. Once I'm done with something, I'm done with something. I just walk away and I don't look back. And that's the best way for me to deal with stuff. And there's going to be a point where the fandom does that too. Star Wars will always be around, but it will not be as big as it once was. And that cool factor, I know it's weird. It's weird for me to say it. It probably isn't for you guys, but like here, Star Wars was the most uncool thing in the planet at one time. Now, a lot of people liked it over a summer, and then the people who still liked it a few months later were made fun of, believe me. And if you like Star Trek back then, forget it. You're getting your ass kicked. But it's different now. Star Wars was cool. In 97, it was cool. 10 years ago, it was cool. It's not cool anymore. And I know most fans don't care. They're fans, and that's cool. Things George Lucas defends. Midichlorians, Jar Jar, CGI dancing, fogs, creepy Anakin eyes, Han shooting second. Things he does not defend. The original cut. North American Ham Rammer, well said. Well said for $5. Very well said. All right. All right, everybody, I'm going to go. Thank you for coming in. I'll leave it up for a little while, then it's going to go over to Nerdrotic Live. I am going to do a video on this, I guess. But if the episodes stay like this, I'll go live. I'll go live after every episode, but it's going to be Friday morning, okay? So I'm not going to do it in the middle of the night. I had it set up for 1 a.m, and then I watched the episode. I'm like, I'm going to bed. Screw this. So there you go. So about 8:30 every Friday morning for the next few weeks. Meet me right here, and we'll talk about it live. Echo Base Network. Is it just me, or did this feel like a filler episode? Nope, it was a filler episode. Good. Hate to be the guy, but I want them to fail. If the episodes are like this, I would not call that a success. They visually look good. But if they are like this for the rest of the season, no. Oh, God, no. That's not what you can simplify stuff, but you went way too much the other way. And that's what happened this episode. Again, it's a 7 out of 10. The cute baby Yoda is, and I'm guarantee you it's a girl. I promise you it is a girl. It's the girl that's the key to everything. Because we're going to do that in every genre plot for the next 3 goddamn years. But no, it's not. It's okay. It's good. 7 out of 10 episode. The first episode was better. I'm going to go to the gym now. So everybody, you have a brilliant day. Thank you for joining me. I got to refresh the super chats to make sure I didn't miss anything. And thank you for the super chats, everybody. Dude, this is dumb. This is so dumb. Baby Yoda is Gizmo from Gremlins. Plush toys will make them millions. You're right. Also, Gina Carano is believable when fighting males, unlike Funko Batwoman. Believable. Yes. She's believable. She's believable. But stronger than the Mandalorian, the strongest one there is. She can kick Bill Burr's ass and the Mandalorian's ass and stuff like that. It's like, why don't you just make her strong? But to make her the strong man, like Amos from The Expanse, yeah, I guess. I mean, she's believable. At least they got something big. And, that was the one that, like I said, my one compliment of the Herminator was Mackenzie Davis. Mackenzie Davis, got ripped, looked good. It was the most believable thing. Everything else was stupid as hell, but she was fine. Sindek, thank you for the $5. You're not wrong. And Gina Carano, by all accounts, lovely person. Nothing against her. I saw her in some interviews. Very charming. Yes. Okay, so Some Nobody, Echo Base Network, North American Hamrammer, Win Wesley, Ryan, Sindek, Baby Yoda is Gizmo from Gremlins. Plush toys are next for $2. Chris Stanley with a $1.99 thumbs up. Thank you very much. Bad Axel for $2. I love the Sandcrawler battle. It was good and it was very Indiana Jones. Thank you very much. Forever Sci-Fi for $1.99. Is Disney pulling Fox movies to kill theaters? Maybe. I've not thought of that. Do you think they want to kill the theaters? Just yet? I think the theaters will kill themselves. Funny thing, though, is they're building a brand new one right near my house. It's going to be badass, and it's near my house. I'm so happy. I can, ride my bike there. But I don't ride my bike in San Francisco because I don't want to run over a dead homeless guy covered in poop and then get hit by a car. Dark Knight of Thrones for $2. Hail, Gary. Hail to you, by the way. Grant Kelbrick for 35 Zardozes from South Africa. Hail, Gary. Greetings from Cape Town. Hail to you, Grant. Love South Africa. Want to go there someday. Yagi, but I ain't going to play Sun City. I'm just kidding. Yagi, me. Hail, Gary. Would you... Oh, I already read that one. So we are caught up. I just want to make sure I'm caught up before I go. Okay, I'm caught up. Mark the Cyborg, yeah. When I review Venture Brothers, you come on, bro. We will discuss it. Everybody have a great day. Go watch... Did my camera get moved? I'm sorry. Was I crooked the whole time? Oh, look at that lighting back there. That looks good. I love that backlight behind the TARDISes. Very proud of myself for that. So I think Ethan went live. Go check out Ethan. Or is it a video? I think it's a video. Whoever's live, go check them out. And I will see you tonight at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. All right? Bye-bye.